Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're ready because when I say we've got major updates even before the official Newjeans trial has kicked off, I mean it. And let me just say, things are getting seriously messy. Like messier than anyone expected messy. We're talking chaos on top of chaos. So far, there's been a court ruling that's officially preventing Newjeans from becoming independent from Ador, at least until this entire trial plays out. That means, for now, they're legally locked into that relationship. But that's not all. Shockingly, it's also been ruled that Newjeans will have to cover all of the legal fees involved in this trial, including the fees for Ador's legal team. Yes, you heard that right. Not just their own defense, but also the costs Ador racks up fighting against them. And now that Ador knows Newjeans will be footing the bill for both sides, well, they've gone ahead and submitted an absolutely overwhelming amount of preparatory documents, which many are calling excessive, almost absurdly so. The timing of this massive document dump couldn't be more suspicious, and it definitely raises a lot of eyebrows. So yes, things are officially crazy, and as always, I'm here to break down every single twist and turn for you. If you want to stay fully updated on everything happening in the Newjeans versus Ador trial, because trust me, this is far from over, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And with that said, let's dive headfirst into this crazy, tangled mess. So first of all, on May 29th, the Seoul Central District Court released a brand new indirect enforcement procedure, and this has now officially been added to the ongoing list of legal measures connected to the Newjeans versus Ador case. Now, this new enforcement procedure specifically ties back to the injunction that was previously granted to Ador by the court, an injunction that's incredibly significant because it legally maintains Ador's status as Newjeans' agency, at least for the duration of the trial. What that means, in plain terms, is that Newjeans members are currently prohibited from engaging in any form of independent activity without Ador's explicit approval, and that includes things like signing advertising contracts, endorsements, or even performing under the name NJZ. Basically, anything they might do outside of Ador's control is off limits, unless Ador gives the green light. But now, with this latest development, things have escalated even further. The court has added a new stipulation. If Newjeans violates this injunction or fails to comply with the court's ruling in any way, each member would be required to pay a penalty of 1 billion Korean won for every violation. That's per member. Just to put that into perspective, if we convert that amount into US dollars, we're talking around $700,000 each. That's not just a slap on the wrist. That's a life-changing amount of money. You could literally buy a house, maybe even two depending on where you are, with that kind of cash. Now, many people are speculating that this new enforcement clause might have been introduced in direct response to Newjeans' recent ComplexCon performance, which took place after the court had already granted the injunction to Ador. Despite the legal ruling, Newjeans went ahead and performed under the NJZ name, promoted their merchandise, and even performed a brand new song titled Pit Stop, all under the NJZ brand. So naturally, the question now is, does this count as a violation under the new enforcement rules? Would the members now have to pay that massive fine for what they already did? Or is this financial penalty something that only applies to actions from this point forward? That part is still unclear, and the legal implications are very murky. But what we do know is that this trial is expected to take a long time to fully play out in court. So then another very real question becomes, even if Newjeans ends up winning this case, how long will that take? And will they still even be relevant by the time it's over? That's a hard pill to swallow, especially for a group that's still in their early prime. And the bigger question hanging over all of this is the why. Why are they doing all of this? According to what's been said publicly, Newjeans is pursuing this path because they claim to have completely lost trust in Ador following the dismissal of their CEO, Min Hee-jin. So the implication here is that they're willing to take all these risks, including the possibility of ending up with millions of dollars in legal fees and fines, just to distance themselves from Ador and stay loyal to Min Hee-jin. And that leads to the million-dollar question. Are they throwing their careers away just to be with Min Hee-jin? Would they really go so far as to risk paying these jaw-dropping penalties just to remain aligned with her? That loyalty runs deep, but at what cost? And again, it's still a little unclear whether Newjeans will only be penalized from this point on for any future violations, or if the court could potentially fine them for previous actions, like those ComplexCon performances, media interviews, fan events, and even things like birthday cafes that may have been done without Ador's official approval. Either way, this case just keeps getting more intense by the day, and and there's no doubt it's going to have huge implications for the group's future. Now, if you thought that was already a lot to process, well, buckle up, because it turns out things are even more intense than they initially seemed. According to an official court ruling, Newjeans is now being held responsible for all of the legal fees involved in this trial. Yes, you heard that right. Not just their own legal fees, but they're also required to cover Ador's legal expenses as well. This decision has sparked serious concern among fans and the general public alike, with many people deeply worried about the kind of immense financial strain this could put on the members and their families. The entire situation is genuinely heartbreaking and, honestly, devastating to think about. It's not just a matter of a few lawyer bills here and there. We're talking about covering the costs of everything. Ador's entire legal team, every filing fee submitted to the court, all the administrative charges, and the fees associated with hearings, documentation, and any procedural costs related to this case. And just to make matters worse, both sides didn't exactly go cheap on their legal defense. As most people know by now, Newjeans hired a whole team of top-tier lawyers from one of Korea's most prominent law firms, which obviously comes with a hefty price tag. But guess what? Ador did the exact same thing. So now, because of this ruling, Newjeans has to foot the bill for both their own high-powered legal team and Ador's. It's honestly wild. And before anyone runs to the comments accusing me of spreading misinformation, please check the video description. I've linked the exact legal document I'm referencing, so if you're upset about the facts, take it up with the court, not me. I'm just the messenger here, reporting on what's been officially documented and ruled. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to just how serious this is. Newjeans is now expected to shoulder the burden of all legal fees, and without exaggerating, the minimum total this could come to is absolutely in the millions. It's not a small amount. It's enough to potentially leave the members and their families buried under mountains of debt. And unfortunately, this was always a very real possibility, because at the end of the day, this is how the law works. Newjeans can't simply walk away from Ador just because Min Hee-jin was allegedly dismissed. That's not a valid legal reason anymore. In fact, it has already been proven in court that Min Hee-jin wasn't dismissed at all. She actually left voluntarily, meaning that entire argument basically vanished into thin air. It's legally invalid now, which changes the whole playing field. So really, what Newjeans should have done in the eyes of the court was pay their penalty fee up front and settle the matter. But even that wasn't going to be cheap. Estimates put that penalty somewhere between 450 million to 6,200 billion Korean won. Yes, billion. If we convert that, we're talking about nearly $500 million US. It's an absolutely staggering number. And the reason they didn't go that route, Newjeans didn't believe they would be held liable for those penalties. They argued that Ador had breached the terms of their contract, and that's why they were taking this to court in the first place. But that statement was made quite some time ago, and as the situation stands now, the court has ruled that Newjeans will still be responsible for paying all the legal costs. So hypothetically, if Newjeans wants to fully break free from Ador once this trial is over, they could be facing an estimated cost that pushes toward $500 million when all is said and done. I mean, this isn't just a lot. This is unimaginably expensive. And while I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, it does need to be said plainly. These are the legal consequences of the path they chose. That doesn't mean it isn't tragic. It doesn't mean it's fair or easy, but this is what the legal system has decided. And as much as I believe in the group's talent and potential, I can't help but feel bad. Because behind the headlines and legal drama, there are real people, young idols and their families, who might be staring down a future filled with long-term debt and financial stress. This is no longer just about a contract dispute. It's a full-blown legal and financial storm, and the stakes have never been higher. With Newjeans now carrying the heavy burden of covering all the legal bills in this trial, it seems like Ador is wasting no time taking full advantage of the situation. In fact, Ador has just submitted what many are calling an absurd amount of preparatory documents ahead of the upcoming hearing. And considering that Newjeans is now financially responsible for literally everything, including the costs related to Ador's legal filings, this document flood is raising a lot of eyebrows. Now, what's actually inside those documents hasn't been revealed in full detail yet, but from what many fans and observers are speculating, these files appear to be focused on accusing Newjeans of violating the court's earlier ruling. And here's why that might be the case. Despite the court's injunction, the members have reportedly continued posting actively on their alternate Instagram account, and they've even been spotted holding birthday cafes, which may have been done without Ador's approval. If those actions are seen as independent promotional activities, Ador might be trying to use them as evidence of non-compliance with the court order. Honestly, it's a lot of documents, and it feels like Ador is really piling it on. And from a strategy standpoint, it makes sense on their end. They know Newjeans will be footing the bill, so why not bring everything to the table? But here's where things start to get a bit worrying. We haven't really seen much of a document-based counter from Newjeans' side yet. There's been plenty of statements, some testimonies, and a few public claims, but those don't carry carry the same weight in court as hard evidence like photographs, videos, official documents, or signed contracts. Right now, the burden of proof is resting heavily on Newjeans. They're the ones challenging the contract, making the claims, and trying to separate from Ador, so it's on them to bring forward concrete evidence to back it all up. And at the moment, it feels like Ador is the one walking into court with receipts, literal ones. That said, there is a glimmer of hope on Newjeans' side. As many of you already know, they've recently hired a whole new team of lawyers, some big names from major law firms in Korea. So ideally, this new legal team is working behind the scenes right now to prepare something solid for their side, because they're going to need it, especially with the upcoming trial date set for June 5th. And of course, you already know I'll be keeping you fully updated as soon as anything new drops regarding that hearing. The pressure is on, the stakes couldn't be higher, and things are moving fast. So stay tuned, because this legal battle is far from over, and it's only getting more intense from here. So to sum everything up, here's where we currently stand in this increasingly chaotic legal situation. A brand new procedure has officially been put in place that would fine each member of Newjeans a staggering 1 billion Korean won, which converts to around 700,000 USD per violation if they break the court's injunction or fail to follow its rulings. On top of that, Newjeans is now officially liable for all legal costs in this trial. That includes not only the massive fees for their own high-powered legal team, but also Ador's entire legal bill, lawyers, court filing fees, administrative charges, everything. And if that wasn't already overwhelming enough, Ador has now gone full force by submitting a mountain of preparatory documents ahead of the next trial. It's clear that they're not holding back, especially now that they know Newjeans will be covering the cost of every single one of those documents. This whole situation is getting unbelievably messy, and it's only fueling even more anticipation for what's going to happen during the next hearing. Honestly, in my opinion, Newjeans might want to seriously reconsider the whole vacationing and birthday cafe appearances at this point, because the financial reality they're facing right now is no joke. With the amount of debt they could be walking into, it's hard to see how any of this is sustainable without major consequences. And let's be real, based on how the legal system is currently responding and how strong Ador's legal positioning seems, it's not far-fetched to say that Ador may very well end up winning this trial. If that happens, Newjeans will either have to go back to Ador and resume their activities under their management, or pay what could end up being $500 million. Yes, literally $500 million USD to break free completely. It's a total mess right now, and while I do hope I broke everything down clearly for you, there's no denying how serious and complicated this entire case has become. If you enjoyed this update and want to make sure you never miss another one as this legal battle unfolds, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay completely up to date with every twist and turn in the ongoing Newjeans versus Ador saga. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I'll see you again very soon in the next update. Bye for now.